destitutions and death. That is all that's left for you. Are you done yet? I will never forget that. It wasn't a condemning voice. It wasn't an angry voice. It was pure love, and it struck me and cut me to my core. And for the first time in my life, I had no more plan Bs. A man that I met in CR, and I asked him to be my sponsor. Some of you guys know Charlie. Man, I would not be alive if it weren't for that man. He helped save my life. I called him the next day, and he just scooped me up and said, "Come here, boy. Do what I tell you to do." And I said, "Yes, sir." I was broken, I was desperate, and I was terrified, and that was exactly where I needed to be to truly begin my recovery journey. I began working the steps with my sponsor and immersing myself in recovery. I went to 6 meetings a week. I kept trying to do the next right thing every chance I had. I took the suggestions of those around me who were farther along than I was. I wrote my inventory. I started just pouring myself into it, and things began to click for me as my recovery became my first priority, and as I continued to remain honest, open-minded, and willing. I haven't found it necessary to use or drink.
2 years older than me, and he was good-looking, athletic, popular, and charming. One weeknight while my parents weren't home, I invited him over, and I lost my virginity to him.
So Haley and I began our new chapter of learning how to live together for the first time and be a newlywed couple who were also relatively new in recovery, both around 1 year at that point. We made it a point to try to put God at the forefront of our relationship because we knew what the result was when that wasn't the case. We're both addicts, and we've got some character defects that rear their ugly heads sometimes. But thankfully, we have the tools to learn how to deal with those things in an effective way. I am so humbled and thankful that we've gotten into recovery and following Jesus as young as we are, because we get to work on this stuff now instead of allowing it to build up and have to deal with it later down the road. The fact that God's grace has been poured out in our lives in such amazing ways over the years is something that I don't ever want to take for granted. We struggled, and we still continue to struggle sometimes with things that young married couples have difficulties with: finances, finding balance in our lives, learning how to be patient and forgiving towards one another. But by working our individual programs and placing our marriage in God's care and control, we get to tackle those things in a healthy way instead of allowing bitterness, resentments, and dysfunction to grow. The first year of our marriage, we experienced some serious ups and downs, but it was evident that God was right there with us each and every step of the way.
The highlights of our lives. This past May, we welcomed our first son into the world, Maverick David. He is cuddly, loving, persistent with what he wants, and can melt my heart in about half a second with those little nose scrunches. We love watching Myra be the best big sister to him through her aggressive love, and we hope to raise our kids to know and love Jesus just as much as we do. We are so grateful that they get to grow up in a recovery program, hopefully instilling in them a healthy way to cope with life's ups and downs, something that Austen and I didn't have at their age. There has been so many great things that have happened in the past 3 years of our marriage, but there has also been a few moments of tough decisions and hardships. Last year, we moved into Austen's parents' house to help save money to buy our first home together. As much of a blessing that this is, it was a really tough, God-led decision for a newly married couple with their first baby and another on the way to make. Financially, we've had more downs than ups, but God has always been faithful and provided exactly what we need and sometimes more. Just a quick praise report, this Friday, we actually closed on our first home. And it's been a journey. Buying a house is not for the faint of heart, but it's such a blessing. There's been moments and days where our sobriety and recovery have been tempted and tested, especially while learning how to become new parents and walk in the same shoes that Jesus did by sacrificing our needs for our kids first.